Here's a short tutorial on long division and how to long divide. And we'll be doing a full lesson in class together, but this video is designed so that you can come back to refresh your memory on how to long divide. First of all, we need to know that there are three ways to express division. The first and most popular way is using the division symbol. So let's say that we're going to take 126 and divide it by 3. We would show it that way. And what we've got here is the 3, our little number. This one is our divisor. So that's how many groups we're dividing into. And the 126 is the larger number that we're dividing up, and that's called the dividend. And when we get an answer, our answer is going to be called the quotient. So these are good words to know. They're really easy to mix up, especially dividend and divisor. You can think about the divisor as the one, how many groups you're dividing into, that can help you. So the second way is using a fraction bar. Fractions are really just division in disguise. So we're going to take 126, the dividend, and put it over the divisor, 3. And so this means 126 divided by 3. And our last way, which we'll work on today, is long division. And this is where we use a long division symbol, and we are dividing 126 divided by 3. So the divisor goes on the outside, and the dividend goes inside, and sometimes people call it inside the house because it has a little bit of a roof there. So the dividend goes inside, the divisor goes outside, and the quotient is going to be written above. And that's the style of division that we're going to work on now. I would love to take credit for this long division memory aid, but in fact it was somebody else's idea, and I really like it. And it's using the first letter of the names of a family: Dad, Mom, Sister, Brother, and Rover. Each person in this family represents a step in the long division process. So Dad, the D, stands for divide. So that's step 1 for long division. Mom, step 2, is often forgotten. Don't forget Mom. This is our multiplication step. 3 is sister. We're going to subtract. 4 is brother. We'll bring down. And 5 is Rover, which used to be old-fashioned name, common name for a dog. Rover stands for repeat the process again, go back to Dad, or you're going to be done and you have a remainder. So we're going to use this family to long divide, and we're going to do 3 examples, all following Dad, Mom, Sister, Brother, and Rover. And after a while, you won't even need the names of the family members in order to do long division quickly and effectively. So what we have here is a divisor of 2 and a dividend of 947. So we're dividing 947 into 2 equal pieces. They might be equal, or we're going to have a remainder. We can see this is an odd number, so yes, we will have a remainder. Sometimes it's impossible to know with these numbers, especially when they get larger. So what we're going to do is, our first step is Dad, divide. So we're going to divide 9 by 2. So really what we're asking ourselves is, how many times does 2 go into 9? Or in other words, what times 2 gets me as close as possible to 9? And the answer is going to go above the 9. So I go through my 2's, 2 times 2, 2 times 3, 2 times 4 gets me to 8. So I'm going to put a 4 here. 4 is my number. So 9 divided by 2 is 4 times, and now I'm ready to multiply. My next step is Mom, so I'm going to multiply 2 times 4, or 4 times 2, and that gets me to 8, and the 8, the answer of that, goes below the 9. Next step is sister, subtract. We're going to subtract 9 minus 8 is 1. And my next step is brother, bring down. So I'm going to bring down the next number, which is a 4. At this point, I'm ready to go to rover, which is repeat or remainder. I can see here that I'm not done. I have 2 spaces left to fill, so I'm going to repeat the process going back to dad to divide. But this time, I'm looking down at the 14. So my eye needs to change direction. I'm no longer looking across as I did with the first number 9, but I'm looking down. 2 into 14, or 14 divided by 2. How many times? This time it goes perfectly. 14 divided by 2 is 7. So I'm going to go to my mom step to confirm that 7 times 2 is 14, and I write the answer for the multiplication below. I'm on to sister, subtract. I subtract. 14 minus 14 is 0. I'm on to brother, bring down. I bring down my 7. And now I go to rover, repeat or remainder. I have to repeat again because I'm not done. All my spaces above need to be filled for me to be finished. So I go back to dad, divide. Now I go to the 7. 7 divided by 2, or ask yourself, how many times does 2 go into 7? It goes 3 times. Now I'm on to mom. 3 times 2 is 6, and I put the answer below so that when I get to sister, subtract, I have 2 numbers to subtract. 7 minus 6 is 1. I'm at brother, bring down, but there's nothing to bring down. So that means that I'm at the remainder, at rover. I have 1 left over, and so up in the quotient, I put an R, capital or small, doesn't matter. R1, my quotient is 473 with a remainder of 1. So if you had $947 and you wanted to split it with somebody else, each of you would get $473, and there would be a remainder of $1, so you'd have to split that and have 50 cents each. As I said before, fractions are a way to express division. So we're going to take this fraction and change it to long division by recognizing that the denominator, the number in the bottom, this is our divisor. And so when we set up our long division, the divisor has to go outside. And the 625 up in the numerator, this is going to go down below. So I'm going to get started now. I have 3 digits. So my answer will need to fill up the spaces or be lined up correctly. So my quotient needs to go up top. So let's start with dad. We're going to divide. First up, 8 into 6. Now we've got a problem. You can't fit 8 into 6. 6 is too small. So what you can do there is you can put a little X to hold that space if you want to, or you can just move over. Because if 8 doesn't fit into 6, right? 6 divided by 8, that doesn't work. Then we've got to go bigger. So what we're going to do now is take that 6 and go to the 2, and we've got 62. So now ask yourself, how many times does 8 go into 62? Well, 8 times 8 is 64. That's too big. So I've got to go a little bit lower. So 8 times 7 gets me close to 62. Let's try it. Step with mom. 7 times 8 is 56. Now I'm at my sister step, subtract. I'm going to subtract 62 minus 56. I'll borrow from the 6, gives me a 5. Give to the 2 now becomes a 12. 12 minus 6 is 6. And 5 minus 5 is nothing. After the sister subtraction step, we're on to brother, bring down. I'm going to bring down this 5. I'm not done yet. I don't have all my spaces filled. So at Rover, I'm going to repeat the process. I go back to Dad. How many times does 8 go into 65? Now we can use 8. 8 goes into 65 8 times. Step Mom, we're going to multiply what I just wrote. 8 times 8 is 64, and write it down below. Sister, subtract. 65 minus 64 is 1. Brother, bring down. There's nothing to bring down, which means I'm at my remainder. I'm at Rover. I have 78 with a quotient with a remainder of 1. Division can be expressed using the division symbol. If we want to divide using long division, we're going to have to take our divisor, our 7, put it on the outside of the house, and the 123 is going to go on the inside. My dividend goes inside and my divisor goes outside. So I have 123 divided by 7. I'm going to use long division, starting with Dad. Dad says, let's divide number by number. 7 into 1. No good. 7's way bigger than 1. I'm going to put a little X there so that I can move myself over. Remember, you don't have to put an X. You can just move over. Now we're going to take the 1 and the 2. So that's 12. We repeat with Dad. 7 goes into 12 one time. Step Mom, multiply. 1 times 7 is 7. Step Sister, subtract. 12 minus 7 is 5. Step Brother, bring down. Bring down the 3. Step Rover, repeat. We're not done yet. So I go back to Dad and I divide. 7 goes into 53. How many times? 7 times 7 gets me close. Step Mom. 7 times 7 is 49. Step Sister, subtract. 53 minus 49. I need to borrow here. Borrow from my 5 becomes a 4. Give. 13 minus 9 is 4. I've subtracted. I've got my answer. Nothing to bring down. My answer there is my remainder. My answer in total is 17 as a quotient with a remainder of 4. I hope you found this long division video helpful. We'll do a lot more practice in class, but this is a good refresher to go back to. And if you stick with those family members, you can't go wrong with the steps for long division.